So I'll never be like, this religion's
Trying to
wrong,
change
this
somebody.
religion's right, because every religion's right, because that's where certain people find certain amounts of peace. And I don't want to ever take that away from people, because it's already hard enough to get.
For me, like, it was a confusing time whenever I discovered that religion was created to control people, because I was actually going. Welcome to the BeMoHappy Show. I'm your host, Maurice Chasson, confidence coach for bold introverts. I help introverts overcome fear and maximize their performance so they can excel in extroverted careers feeling good about themselves. In this episode, me and Jordan kind of break down a little bit our views on religion and how it may have been created to control the masses. And this is just our perspective, and we know that perspective is not reality. It's just how we see things. So I hope you enjoy this episode. I love you. Be more happy. Let's go.
One of the answers I got on the little thing where I was like, what do you want us to talk about? It was about like calorie deficit. What did you do? Somebody was like, did you do Weight Watchers and stuff? Because I frequently talk about how I did calorie deficit. Have you ever like tracked and done all that? I'm pretty sure you have, huh?
Oh, I have, yes.
Like, I talk to people about how there is this kind of sense online that if you're tracking calories, you have an eating disorder. Like, it leads to an eating disorder. It's like a touchy subject to talk about, because it's like you're so hyper-focused on calories that it's not healthy. But
that's weird to me, though. But like, if you're running a business, you're tracking your numbers. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's
just science.
I don't understand. That's so crazy.
And for me, just like I said, it was hard to look in the mirror and say that like my brain's my worst enemy. For me, being like, I'm avoiding tracking calories because I think this certain way. But when it comes to food and nutrition, I've been so confused because I've had Weight Watchers, Herbalife, like, no one's ever broken down to me how the body actually uses calories and what the hell it does with it. So like for me, learning the science of you can only lose weight if you burn more than you consume, it was so comforting to have that honesty with me of it's just simple science. And I think that's the only reason I've been able to maintain it for 5 years, because before I'd be like, oh, I'm doing so good. And then I'd go and fuck off on the weekend and I'd be like, what happened? I don't know what happened. And now, because I know the science behind it, I don't feel that guilt of like something's wrong with me. I can just see for a fact this is what happened. These are the numbers.
Yeah.
And that's what's helped me maintain for so long. Like, that's how I lost it so fast. That's how I've maintained it for so long, because it's just numbers.
Yeah.
There's no moral behind it. There's no guilt behind it. There's no one begging me for money each month behind it. Like, it's just numbers. That I'm in control of, which is nice, but also a pain in the ass sometimes. Like, how nice would it be to just be confused and not know how any of it works?
I swear, ignorance is bliss sometimes. You know what I mean?
Oh, it is. Yeah,
like you
it
said
must
about
be
being
nice
woke.
to not not be aware that you're a total shithead, because then you can just continue being a shithead and be happy about it. You don't feel anything about it. But then once you realize you're a shithead and you feel bad about it and you want to change it, then that's when the real work starts.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
We've all been there.
Mm-hmm.
And if we haven't, we will. It might be when they're like 80, but we got here earlier. And I tell Ollie that too. I'm like, all the adults around you are also just as fucked up in the head and confused about the way that the world works. There's only some that are like self-aware. And you're going to have way more practice because I'm telling you this now versus no one told us this. We had to learn it after we had kids or grew up.
Yeah.
Like, all adults are just tiny toddlers trying to manage their emotions.
It's so true.
It's so
true. I never looked at it that way. Like, you can go walking around at a store or just anywhere and kind of peep that out in people. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
yeah. I be psychoanalyzing people all the time. I'm like, your mom,
I don't like to be
judgmental. Talk to you, do they? I can tell by the way you act.
Do you think it's intuition or do you think it's judgment?
I think it's both. I think it's intuition, but I think my intuition has led me to be able to read patterns. Like, my sister's going to school to be a therapist, and she always tells me, she's like, you should have been a therapist, because it's very easy for me to pick up people's patterns. Like, I can tell when someone's heading down a certain road and when they're coming out of it. And I think that's why it's so fun for me to watch people do things that they think that they can't, because they break that pattern and it shows them that they can be whoever they want to be. But it's so easy for me to see people's behavior as patterns versus taking it personally.
Yeah.
And there are some times where I'll be judging people, but most of the time it's people I don't even know. And that's when those three voices kick in and I'm like, why are you judging? what makes you have negative emotions towards this, and why are you offended by it? That's a question that fucks me up a lot, is why, like for myself, why are you offended by that? Who told you
You
to
know,
be
that's
offended by it?
I learned the most about myself whenever I learned my triggers like that. Like,
Mm-hmm.
why does that piss me off? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like why does that offend me, or why does that make me feel this way? You know, like, and you just learn so much about yourself that way. You know,
Yeah, but
I don't
like
know.
people
It's
who aren't
incredible.
self-aware, they get offended that we want them to question themselves why they're offended. You know? They'll
It's
be
so
like, "You think
true.
I don't trust my own brain?" Like, no, bitch, no one does. I don't trust you for
Yeah,
the
that's
fact
so
that you
funny.
do trust your own brain. That thing is just a
Right.
bunch of goo in your head.
Yeah, it's true.
That's weird.
Full of one certain type of programming, you know what I mean? And like, you just
Yeah.
got to be open to see shit a
Yeah.
different way, you know?
I tell people all the time on Instagram, I'm like, don't follow me unless you're open minded and can question yourself. Because
Mm.
that's all I post about, is just being open minded and like trying to see other people's perspectives, challenging the way that you think about things, because that's the only way you can grow.
Yeah, I need to get on your stories more on
Yeah,
Instagram.
Mo,
Like,
you need to support
I
me
don't
more.
I don't get on I don't get on stories. And if I feel bad because some of my friends, coaches and stuff, like they'll post like these long ass captions in their posts. But I never read the captions, and
That's okay.
automatic is in the captions, and I know it. But like
Yeah.
I'm
But
not
sometimes
taking
if I post
10
a
minutes
long
to.
rant or a long caption, I'll even put at the bottom, like, thank you for making it this far, because I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have read this. I wouldn't. We're all human. I get it. I
Yeah,
wouldn't have. Even
that's
stories.
awesome.
Whenever I post secrets and there's a bunch of stories, I'm like, look, whoever makes it all the way through, I'm gonna follow them, because I wouldn't have done it. And I've
That's so
honestly met some amazing people like that. Like, I'll follow
really.
them, and they'll be like, "Oh my god, I love you so much," and then we conversate on
Aw.
the regular. And
I
I
love your
forget that I
audience.
make that
Like,
big of a difference. Like, it's always weird to me that people are excited for me to follow them, because
mhm.
I feel like before I became internet famous or whatever, it was like Facebook, where you go to add someone and sometimes they don't request, like they won't accept it. And
Mhm.
now it's like people are excited for me to request them, and I'm like, that's nice.
Like you're big shit, right?
I'm big shit, yeah.
You are, but it's just the level of love and acceptance you have for people, and your vulnerability that you just let out and connect with
Oh
people
yeah.
like that on that deep level, you know? So
Humans
they
like
love
to
you.
just be seen as humans versus like no
Hmm.
expectations, or just to, we're all just meat sacks.
You know,
People tell me,
Georgia,
they're
on
like, the fact that you analyze the world as we're just a meat sack on a big rock has brought me so much peace. And I'm like,
that's so cool.
hasn't it?
Yeah, that's so awesome. You know, Georgia, on our podcast episode, I had a poll on there, like if the people would want to see us do a podcast together. And every episode that I have, I posted like polls and stuff. Nobody ever answered. No polls
Oh,
on on the podcast with you. Like 10 people voted yes.
that's because I
So I
got
was
some
like,
loyal
fuck
bitches. Look, you 10
yeah.
who voted, you are invited to Christmas. I have the best followers. Like, I
You do.
really do. I
Hmm.
struggle with dealing with, like, I used to not want to not be liked, and now and this was way like in the beginning. I was like nervous about what I would post. This was when I had like 300 followers. And then it was actually Gary Vee who posted something, and he was like, "Post the shit that you want to post, because you're going to find the people that you want to connect with. You don't want to make everyone like you. You don't like everyone. Like, you
Yeah.
want people who are going to vibe with you. So post just you." Because if you post shit that you just want people to put likes on, then eventually you're going to show who you really are, and people
Hmm.
aren't going to like it, and then you're not going to like you. But you
Hmm.
should like you, because you're great.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
mean,
That's
unless you're an
awesome.
asshole,
That's
but
good. You know, Georgia, a couple weeks ago, I had recorded like a late night session. It was like 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. Like I felt led to just record a damn podcast, right? So I
oh,
recorded that
I
podcast.
say this as um growing up in the Catholic Church, you know how the preachers or whatever, they'd be like, the Holy Spirit's coming through me. And like now I've learned, like, no, you just had a thought that you had to get out there. That's all that was. This was no spirits. Like, the power of Christ compels me to say, no, you just have something that you want to be heard about, and you want validation, and you want someone to hear it, because maybe someone out there needs to hear it,
Hmm.
not because there's a
Yeah,
ghost in
it's a
you.
message. Right, right. Like a messenger, you know?
Mm-hmm. What
But
was your post about?
anyways, so I record that podcast, and I was gonna release it to the public, but I didn't. And it's because like I said so much shit on there that I felt that people would be like, "Holy fuck, Mo is crazy," because like I started talking about energy and frequency and like all that stuff. And
Oh, if you wouldn't be in this tiny little small brain town, it would go over very well.
yeah, and look, I mentioned that in the podcast in that episode too. Like, I was like, man, like this small town, small mindset people like here, like it's just a stagnant ass place, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So, but look, I let my wife listen to it because I was like, look, I want you to listen to it before I put it out there. She was like, babe, like I personally wouldn't do it. She said that sounds more like something for your own personal journal, you know. So, and I didn't release it, but like a part of me feels like I should still release that motherfucker because like I want people to know the deep analytical mind of Mo as far as the energy and the frequency.
I think if you weren't meant to release it, then you wouldn't feel like you should go back to, like, you wouldn't be thinking about it. Because I posted some stuff on TikTok before and immediately deleted it and never thought about it again.
Really?
But if you feel the need to say it and you feel compelled to get it out there, then do it.
I think where I failed at though, like I didn't explain none of my shit. You know what I mean? Like I talked about Jesus, like Jesus was a real person just like me and you, and like he just had a certain level of consciousness. You know what I mean? It's not that
he was a witch.
Yeah, pretty much. Enlightenment, yep. You know what I'm saying? So like
I tell my kids that all the time, and my kids will tell you that the Catholic Church is a bunch of spells and rituals and Jesus was a witch. And they might be offended by it, but I'm telling you right now, if some man came back from the dead and multiplied food and did all the shit that he did, he would be labeled as a witch.
Yeah, because he's a healer. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and that's witches, apparently. You know?
Witches.
So, mm-hmm.
I love that. Yep. I don't know. I think you should release it. I don't know. Maybe let me listen to it. But controversy will get you a lot of traction. It's just you got to be able to you have to prepare for the repercussions of it. Like you're going to get people's opinions about it. People who aren't open-minded and think the same way that you think. And there are people who are going to not think the same way that you think, but not take offense to it. And there are people who are going to take offense to it. But that's on them.
The other day, like, I feel like this was like a preparation for me because I was at a wedding and they had a pastor. And like his wife was like, "Oh, Mo, I need to check out your podcast and listen to it," you know. And like one of my episodes, I talk about religion being created to control people and stuff, you know. So, and she's very religious too, of course.
Oh, they hate hearing it.
What? So this pastor ended up asking me like where I'm at with my faith. Told him straight up, you know, like, man, like honestly, like I believe that religion was created to control people, you know, control the masses. And like he didn't have no rebuttal, which I was very surprised that he didn't try to change my mind, you know what I mean? Or like, hey man, you should come to my church this weekend or something, you know. That's what I was expecting. No, he's Pegatarian or some shit like that. I don't remember. I don't know those.
Not pescatarians where people only eat seafood, but I think I know what you're talking about.
I have to delete that. Thank you, Jordan.
Is it Episcopal? I don't think either of us are gonna know, but I know what you mean. Yeah. Like it's not Catholic, it's not Christian, it's not paganism because that's basically what Catholicism is.
I don't remember, but it was a good conversation because like I felt like I was able to express how I felt to somebody like that. I swear he didn't have no rebuttals. Like
that's good though. I think that those people in religion are important because they're just there to be there for them, and that's all they need to be there for. I don't like people who are like very shovey and in your face, but I get what you mean. Like I'm very vocal on Instagram about how like we're not Catholic, we're not Christian. We do believe in God, but like I fully believe that the Bible was made to control people. And because like if you look at how old the earth is, we're right here. Like humanity's right here, and then religion's like even it's just 2,000 years. Catholicism is just 2,000 years old. That is not that long. It's and then you look at the Vatican, and you look at just the way that it's been. I'm not saying that the Catholic religion is wrong in itself, but what it's turned into as far as the money making and the business side of it, and the wanting to be a part of what goes on in schools and shit like that. That's where we don't agree with it. But like personally, we believe in God. We believe in mostly Buddhism. Honestly, Ali tells people at school we're Buddha because like we believe in you put good out, you get good back. You be a good person, you be kind, you take care of people, and you will get good back. But like I'm sorry, as a mom, I could not explain to my child how dinosaurs exist and how Adam and Eve existed. I was like, this makes no sense. That's not real. My son is smart as shit. He's been in GT since he was in kindergarten, and he was like, Mom, they really think the world started with just two people? I was like, yeah, they do.
That's
In a
so
state.
cool. That's so cool that he asked you that.
He's very realistic. I call him a Y kid. He's like, and I was a Y kid, but I was put in a Catholic school and I was shut up. Like, don't ask why.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And I'm like, okay, but who's the one who said that it is what it is? Because you're no different than me. I can say what it is. Why can't we listen to me? You know, why? Why? And I was like, look, dude, it's bullshit. It's a game. It's all a game. Everything's a game here. I'm sorry.
It's sad but true, you know.
It's
crazy.
so true. And my grandma, who would go to church every Sunday, fully believed in God, fully believed in Mary and Jesus and everything. Like, I still pray to Mary. She's somebody who, like that, the prayers to Mary, I feel more connected to my grandma than anything. I would say them in labor because they helped me out so much. I don't necessarily believe the stories behind it based off of the Bible because it's been rewritten so many goddamn times. She loved the Catholic Church, and I loved that for her. And she would always tell me, as the Y kid, I'd be like, why are we doing this? Why do they say this? Like, I'd look at her like, this is bullshit, right? And she'd be like, yes, but it brings me peace, and it brings lots of other people's peace, and you will always respect others people's peace because that's what's getting them through it, and you will never shame them for it. And I was like, okay, fair, I get that. So I'll never be like, this religion's wrong, this religion's right, because every religion's right, because that's where certain people find certain amounts of peace, and I don't want to ever take that away from people because it's already hard enough to get.
For me, like, it was a confusing time whenever I discovered that religion was created to control people, because I was actually going to cross church and I loved it there. Had big pivotal moments in my life there, you know what I mean? But like, once I realized created to control people, like, it left me depressed and like feeling betrayed, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I was about to say, you felt betrayed.
You know? Yeah, these fuckers, man.
I felt that whenever I went to the Way of the Cross in 3rd grade and I hadn't eaten lunch and I thought I was going to pass out. And I was like, y'all think this is cool? No, I don't want any part of this. I'm over it. I'm hot. It's been 2 hours. I've knelt down 200 times and there's absolutely no point to this.
What is the Way of the Cross?
Oh my God. So the Way of the Cross at church, in Catholic church, if I remember correctly. Have you ever been to a Catholic church where they have those plaques on the wall of the different stages of Jesus going to be crucified?
I don't remember that, no. But I have been to Catholic churches, but
there's these pieces on I think there's 13 or 12, I don't know exactly. I really blocked that shit out. But it's the different points of him going to be crucified. Like, the story of him being crucified, like, how they went to him, got him, whatever. So at each point, there's a different amount. There's a set of prayers and hymns that you have to sing. And there's a lot of kneeling and up and down and reflection. And then you go to the next one and you do it all over again. And then you do this 13 times or 12 times.
Up and down.
And it takes like an hour and a half. And it's hot and it's miserable. And there's no point to it. It's a ritual. It's a literal ritual. I can't go to church now and hear everyone sing all together at once without getting chills all over my body, because like, that is some witchy shit. You can't tell me it's not.
I seen a post last night on Instagram and it said they took away our spirituality and gave us this false religion, and like, it's so weird because our intuition, like, that's the God in us, that
whereas like Catholic church is like, don't listen to that, you're not right, we're right.
Right.
Like, why are you so scared of people's thoughts and intuitions? Because you don't want them to challenge what you're saying, because then you can't control them.
Oh my goodness, I can't wait to oh my God, can I do a short with that?
Oh yeah. And I'm sure I'll get a lot of shit and funny looks at the gym, like, that's that bitch, that they're gonna be like, that's that devil bitch, that's that witchy bitch.
It's sad,
it's
but
just true. And I think that you can participate in the Catholic Church and still be aware that that's happening. But if it brings you peace in what's going to happen in the afterlife, then great. Fantastic.
Do what you got to do.
You can also be Catholic and realize it's witchy shit. That just could be the type of witchy shit that you like.
Yeah, like your grandma, right?
Yeah.
Your grandma, kind of like that.
She was like, yeah, I'm a witch. And I believe, and I go to church. She's like, I'm not dumb enough. I'm able to acknowledge that bread up there isn't bread, and we are just going through the motions to pay respect. And it brings me peace in the ritual of it. It's a ritual. It's a routine. People don't realize it, but they love routine, and that's what church is. It's a routine, and it brings them comfort. It brings them peace. So yeah, and like it's so funny because whenever the priest would come in and they would give their gospel or homily, I can't really remember which one it is, where they basically give their own opinions about a certain subject, and people are like, I feel like he spoke to me. I feel like he was talking to me. I get that same reaction on Instagram whenever I go and talk about shit too that I've been through. It's just
It's so true.
he's being relatable, people.
It's connection. Yeah, exactly. It's
You
story.
just want to relate to someone. That's all you need because you feel so alone in this world. Like it's all connected. It's all connected.
Yeah.
But some people it hurts their feelings to hear that, so we just keep quiet and let them figure it out later.
In that podcast part, I did mention about the Bible being written 10, 20 times. You know, like if you ever been in gossip with people, you've heard one story. By the 10th or the 12th time, the whole story is going to have changed so much. You're going to be like, what the that did not happen. What the
Look,
who made that up?
If anyone ever tries to push the Bible on me, and it's a man particularly, I'm like, do you remember that part in the Bible where he said to gouge your eyes out if you look at a woman in a sexual way? Because I see you still got eyeballs. I need those out in my hand.
You want me to do it, or you gonna do it?
Right? Like, come on. I'm gonna do some witchy shit with them too, so give them over. Because it's written in a way that the men benefit from it.
Really?
And like it's just very man oriented. It's like, it wasn't always like that.
I do remember seeing something that back in the days, like long time ago, that women were like highly
appreciated, respected, heard, understood.
Yeah, pretty much, yes. That and cats too, which is weird. But like now, like cats are evil, and
like the Salem witch trials, people would get burned because you boiled some leaves that cured a stomach ache, and they'd be like, witch. Like, look at the Vatican. Where are the women?
True, right?
And like, why, in order to be in charge, can you not love someone? Can you not have a relationship with someone? Like, why do you have to be single? Right. I think I like Christianity more because you can have a husband or a wife. Like, you can kind of do that. Like, I just don't. And then the whole thing with the smoke, how they picked the Pope with the damn paper. Have you seen that? I'll never forget when they got a new Pope at an age where I had cognitive recollection. And they were like, yeah, it depends on if the smoke burns white or black. Like each cardinal goes in and puts whoever's being voted or not voted, nominated to be the next Pope. They put a piece of paper in the fire. And if white smoke comes out, that's the next Pope. But if black smoke comes out, that's not him. They got to go to the next one. And now as an adult, I know that things burn differently. So what on earth?
Different papers, right?
Like
that's crazy. I never ever knew that.
Look into how the Pope's it's the dumbest shit ever.
That's weird.
No disrespect to you guys, but it's the dumbest shit ever. It's weird.
I think more and more people are on to it. You know what I mean? And I think just a lot of people are they can't let go of it because of tradition. You know, like they're so conditioned, and like it's like that CD. You know?
Oh yeah, like Mother Teresa was like, Jesus is gonna heal these kids. We don't need medical intervention. But when that bitch got pneumonia, guess what she got? Antibiotics. And none of it makes sense for me ever. I remember growing up and being thrown in your face that there are people who are saints because they're perfect. And it's like, what delusional world are you in that you need to be telling children that they won't get appreciated and recognized unless they are absolutely perfect and follow what you're teaching them to a T? Like, that is insane.
Yeah, it's fucked up. Truly.
We really went on a rant here.
Look, I like this kind of talk, you know, because I don't know. I don't think enough of it happens. And like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, growing up in the South, we're not allowed to talk about religion, money, or politics. Like growing up in Catholic school too, you get taught etiquette, and it's like those are the things you do not talk about.
Well, Georgia, we had an amazing episode. I think we did.
I know.
Yeah. All right, Georgia. I'll talk to you later.
Love.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too.